Um, this morning I wrote a meditation I gave the title The Cloverfield Paradox. It's about a science fiction movie. It's a very thought-provoking one. There are things I like in it and there are things what I don't. Personally, I don't understand why all our entertainment today has to be about sex and violence, particularly films soaked in blood. Maybe because only blood, violence and sex sells. These and similar science fictions, however, I do think that they are good mirrors. They are unmasked, revealing of what is going on in our culture, what is bubbling in the unconscious of our culture. All the uncontrolled desires and instincts, all our godlessness, faithlessness and fatelessness, and killing instincts surface in these films. These movies, I think, would make a very good client on a psychoanalytic coach, on the psychoanalytic coach of our culture, or even on the coach of God himself. Unconscious is uncontrolled and free-floating in these films. What we hear on this coach is not terribly encouraging. In our film, an experiment goes wrong, and instead of creating unlimited energies for a power-hungry Earth, parallel worlds, parallel universes are created. And these parallel worlds are fighting for the place of the other. Demons, monsters, madness are set free. There is no longer a valid identity in these films. We are no longer the ones who had been before the moment of the accident. There is no longer a valid identity. Actually, a multiverse of nothingness emerges from our very core. Everything is erased what is sane and human and humane. Painfully, it is a good model where we are now. The Cloverfield paradox, and it's not a doomsday scenario, it doesn't want to sound like that, but it's a good model of the human condition. Actually, it's an excellent description of the conditions for faith and revealed religion today. The overheated energy reactor, which causes the catastrophe, models very well our overheated civilization which we have been building. Energy, nature, and human resources are used excessively. Everything is devoured. Like an overheated nuclear reactor, things are out of control. The movie forces us to ask, what version of the world are we living in? Have we taken up the best options, or on the contrary, the worst ones? what versions of ourself are we? Are we living as our better selves? Are we realizing our human potentials? Or just on the contrary, we are marching into becoming a monster culture? And when science fiction becomes real, like the genuine anxiety with the coronavirus, this fear which shipwrecks our global world in our own sight is not very helpful either. It is against this background that the value of what is real should become so blatantly obvious. The experience of biblical history and faith is the only constant, the only redeeming one which can preserve the sense of the unity of our world. Our painfully falling apart world and psyche and our individual stories can get centered only by entering this biotime or bio-experience of the gospel. That is why it is so sobering and so joyful to catch the message from the distant, long-lost universe of grace. What Jesus said. Jesus said to his disciples, "Ask and it will be given to you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. Everyone who asks receives. The one who searches always finds. The one who knocks will always have the door open to him." Everything else is weightless. Everything else, like in the film, in the moment of catastrophe, everything else is a free-falling object outside this search, outside the conversation with our Redeemer.